Hello dear students, welcome to this class of BA part first. Dear students, as you have asked me to uh, clear some points on the poem Our Casuarina Tree by Toru Dutt. So let us straight away discuss the poem uh, Our Casuarina Tree by Toru Dutt. So let us first discuss some of the short questions which may be asked in your examinations. And Our Casuarina Tree is a poem by Toru Dutt, and it describes her early childhood days and her attitude towards nature. The Casuarina tree was source of joy and liveliness in the poet's life. She also remembers how she used to play under this tree's shade in her early childhood days and used to watch the birds and other creatures playing under its shade. The tree, the Casuarina tree, is a symbol of time and eternity to Toru. So, this poem, Our Casuarina Tree, represents the early childhood of Toru Dutt and how she used to play under the shade of this tree with her siblings. Toru Dutt, dear students, as you all know, she was born in 1856 and she died at a very young age in 1877. She was a born artist. She came from a cultured and educated Bengali family. Both her mother and father were well versed in English and thus getting a literary background from the family. This English background proved very important for Toru Dutt to compose her poems in English. She had an eye for the beauty and grandeur of nature, as is reflected in all her poems. Whether you read the sonnet Lotus or Our Casuarina Tree, you will find her admiration for the beauty and grandeur of nature. After that of her younger brother, Abju, she with her elder sister went to Europe in 1869 and stayed in England, France, and in Italy for 4 years. So we can say she traversed uh, England, France, and Italy. This tour of Europe, it enriched her faculty, her thought process, and paved the way for her to write poetry in English. On the return to India in 1873 and the death of her sister in 1874 greatly affected Toru Dutt, and it left a deep melancholy strain on her mind, which later became an indispensable part of her writings. So the loss of the brother at an early age, then the death of sister in 1874, they left and affected Toru Dutt very much, and in all her poetry, we find a reflection of the brother Abju and her sister. Toru Dutt, she had, as I have already told you, she had an eye for the beauty and grandeur of nature. Her scenic description and landscapes, how she describes these landscapes, they are superb. Like Wordsworth, she was a worshipper of nature. She had great fascination for natural sights and objects like trees, birds, bees, fruits, and flowers. That is the flora and fauna. Although she got converted to Christianity, she had imbibed the ancient spirit and lore of the Bengal and India. In this poem, Toru Dutt describes the beauty of the Casuarina tree, its supportive role, and the natural surroundings in and around the tree. The description of this Casuarina tree by the poet is very vivid, so vivid and lively that one feels as if he is there under the shade of this tree in the garden of Torudat. The opening line of the poem, it describes the beauty of a creeper supported by the majestic tree. Look, the tree is majestic. And the creeper, I quote, like a huge python winding round and round the rugged trunk. So the creeper is like a huge python winding round and round the rugged trunk. So we get the description of the tree. The trunk of the tree is rugged. It is not smooth. It is rugged, indented, deep with scars up to its very summit near the stars. So the creeper is there winding around the tree. This is indeed a fascinating image showing the tree wearing the creeper like a scar. So she has used a simile like a python, like a huge python, and the creeper is like a scar. The poet further beautifies the description by describing the branches, the bunches of flowers, the crimson flowers hanging round the branches of the tree. So we come to know that the creeper, it also fruits some flowers, and the flowers are of crimson color. The singing of birds and the humming of the bees further adds to the beauty of this tree and the landscape. It adds music to the environment, the humming of the bees. The poet then describes the tree at dawn. Torudat displays a remarkable description of the tree at dawn, what all activities are happening at dawn. Her pictorial sketch of the grey monkey sitting on the crescent branch like a statue watching the sunrise is marvelous. And the description of the little one, the little monkey, leaping about and playing shows the poet's quality of painting this scene. How she has described this scene and the baboon is very realistic. I quote, a grey baboon sits statue-like, stands still, statue-like, alone, watching the sunrise, while on lower boughs his puny offspring are about and play. So the offspring, that is the little monkey, is playing about on the lower branches. The welcoming of the day by the cuckoo, the sleepy cows going to pastures, the blossoming of the water lilies in the tank shows the pictorial qualities and how Torudat she has described all these uh, qualities and all that what is happening in and around and on the tree. I quote from the poem, and far and near kokilas hail the day. Look, far and near kokilas hail the day, and to their pastures went our sleepy cows. And in the shadow on the broad tank cast by that whole tree, so beautiful and vast, the water lilies spring like snow and mast. So we have a simile here. The water lilies, they look like snow and mast in the water tank. So this is a beautiful imagery presented by Torudat. These lines prove that Torudat was a very minute, keen observer of the details of nature. Impressed by these pictorial scenes, one of the critics, Mr. H.A.L. Fisher, said, this child of the green valley of the Ganges will forever remain in the great fellowship of English poets. Unquote. So a very remarkable and very commendable statement. The third stanza shows the poet's attachment to the tree. Here, Torudat remembers those days of her childhood when she used to play under the shade of the tree with her siblings. Here, the poet describes her playful childhood memories, and I quote from the poem, "But not because of its magnificence, dear is the casuarina to my soul." She describes that I admire this casuarina tree, but it is not dear to me because it is so magnificent, so huge. But the reason is, beneath it we have played. Look, beneath it we here are Torudat, Orudat, and Abju. Though years may roll, oh sweet companion. So she describes her siblings as sweet companions, loved with love intense. For your sakes shall the tree be ever dear. And she says that this tree, it will be ever dear to me because I have played under the shade of this tree with you, my dear sister and my dear brother. At this point, she remembers her dead brother and sister. Now she reveals the cause of her sorrow and her love for the casuarina tree. I quote from the poem, "Beloved of those who now in blessed sleep for a repose, dearer than life to me, last word." So she says that this beautiful tree is dear to me because who now in blessed sleep, that is, those who are dead, repose, they are dearer than life to me, alas, what day. Toru that loved her brother and sister very much, and it were they who inspired her to write a poem celebrating the casuarina tree. So we can say that this poem is written in memory of the sister Orudat and Abju, the brother. And she wants to save it from the oblivious curse, like Shakespeare, who immortalized the friendship of his patron and friend W.H. in one of his sonnets. Similarly, Torudat, she wants to save the tree, she wants to immortalize the tree forever. And I quote from the poem, "With deathless trees and time here is personified, the shadow, and though weak the verse, that would thy beauty fain, O fain rehearse, my love defend thee from oblivion's curse." He says that, "O my dear tree, I believe that you live a very long life." She believes that so long as Indo-Anglian poetry be read, the casuarina tree will live. The poem is composed in a very simple diction. The poet has presented to us a true account of her love for the tree with an undercurrent of the melancholy and nostalgia. The use of simile in the opening line, I quote, "Like a huge python, the monk is sitting like a statue, the water lily is like snow and Mars." So a lot of similes have been used by Torudat. Then the personification of time and the tree, hope and death, gives a contrasting effect. The poem is written in an 11-line stanza form, and it rhymes A B B A C D C D D C E E E. Dear students, thank you very much.